This background looks very impressive in real life, but here it kind of looks not as good. This is actually a neon sign that lights up, and it's lit up right now, but you can't see it, so depressing times. Also, I have like pink makeup and fluff all over my hands. Ignore that. Just ignore that. I'm back in the fold, 2024. What a cool year. I mean, it's only just started, but I mean the actual year 2024, I like the sound of it. It sounds very nice to me. Even numbers, all good. I am going to talk today about something I've been thinking about a lot. And I've been thinking about it a lot because I saw a trend on TikTok of it being talked about, and I'll link some of my favourite TikToks below that cover this topic. I have realised recently that a massive part of me, since as far back as I can remember, because born autistic, obviously, is I don't like being perceived. I really don't like people acknowledging me, and I didn't realise this was an autistic thing. I thought it was kind of an anxiety thing. To be honest, it's, you know, they're all intertwined, right? I feel like the anxiety and the autism do go together in this circumstance. Essentially, there's a sort of link between autism, anxiety, and social phobia, and I am going to talk about that today. Sorry if you can't relate and you're one of those very lucky autistic people who are very outgoing and gregarious, great extroverts. It might also be an introvert thing, you know, I'm pretty much introverted, which you probably couldn't tell on these videos, but if you meet me in person or if I'm in some sort of group, I will very much just vibe it out and not talk to anyone. The line is blurred between, is this anxiety, is this autism, blah blah blah. Does it really matter where the line is? Probably not. Everything exists in shades of grey. So the reason this came to my attention, not just because of TikTok, was because in my real life, I have a job, oh my god. But it basically involves talking face to face, one-on-one with people, and introducing yourself to these people, and it's not going to be a conversation that lasts. This is so soft. Huh. Well, that's really nice. Anyway, I have to introduce myself to these people, and normally, if the circumstance means that I only have to talk to those people for about 2 minutes, it's all good. For context, I used to have a very boring generic retail job and I had to talk to customers then, but I could sort of disappear halfway through the time I was talking to them and come back because I had to collect what they'd ordered. So I feel like there wasn't as much social interaction element, and also they didn't really care that I didn't make any eye contact whatsoever, because I did my job well, if I do say so myself. But this new job that I have, it requires talking to people about personal things, and I'm not very happy about that. I'm a very non-invasive person. I don't really like asking people questions about themselves because I'm also quite a private person, so I feel it's quite intimidating if people just come up to you and start asking questions and stuff, but that's part of my role. So anyway, I wish I could give more context to what this job is because it's more than that, but I don't want everyone to stalk me. So suffice to say, it's in a setting that you can't exactly chill out in. It's very high pressured, smelly, and germy, and I'm not a fan of any of those things, so that adds another layer of complexity to this situation. But not just in work, in my whole life I've had issues with being perceived, being looked at, introducing myself to people, knowing that they're looking at me. I prefer to be in the background of operations. I basically would like to do a job where it's quite important, but I don't really want to be like in the middle of it and like responsible. Well, I don't mind being responsible. I think I just don't like being observed doing my job. I like being the kind of cog in the machine that helps the machine a lot, but like doesn't actually have to like talk to people, which is a very hard job to find. I will say that I know I mentioned that retail job. Isn't that sign so cool? It's meant to say my name. I know you can't tell. It's a do-it-yourself job. I think it looks good. The H has gone a bit skew-if. Anyway, I know I mentioned my retail job and stuff, but that took me a good time to actually get happy and comfortable with talking to the customers. That makes me sound like I could do it off the bat. I literally remember there was a period of time, probably for like the first 6 months, which is a long time, but you know, that's how long it takes me to get used to these things. I would serve a customer. it was all going great from the outset. And then when I was walking up the aisles to get their objects or whatever they'd ordered, I remember like thinking in my head over and over again, I hate this, 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 I hate this. I even said things like, I hate my life, I hate my life, I hate my life, which is ridiculous because I didn't hate my life. But that was the only phrase that would come into my head that made me feel like calmed down. And it just happened automatically. I wasn't even thinking about it because I was so anxious about it. I just hated the being perceived and having to like call to the next person in the queue and then they come over. Yeah, just horrible. And then they're obviously expecting you to come back with their things that they ordered, and then if you haven't got those things, it's really just terrible. I remember that. So anxiety, man, it's fun. You may be wondering, how is this different? Like, how is this current setup different? Well, for starters, don't know why I turned a bit country then. I do not see you. I don't see a person, I just see a camera. So to me, it's not like talking to people, even though technically it is because it gets uploaded. So that's my excuse. Also, I feel like this is very on my own terms, and I don't feel like I'm infringing on you guys. I feel like this is a very one-way thing, and I'm just kind of talking to you, at you, whatever, and then that's it. Whereas when I'm talking with a person, they'll like come back to me with things and they'll observe me before they say those things, and I'm like, I don't want to be observed, I don't want to be perceived, I don't want people to like acknowledge me with the eyeballs and be like, that's a person. Like, if I had the ability to turn invisible at will, my god, I would be the happiest person alive. So I've always been drawn to small spaces, dark little holes, basically anywhere I can be not perceived by other people. I remember as a kid, I know a lot of kids probably did this, but when someone would sing happy birthday to me, I would hide immediately as a kid, and I didn't ever think about what I was doing, and everyone just found it funny because, it's like, oh, that's Neve, she's so strange, she's so quirky, but like I would hide under the table because just the like idea of lots of eyes looking at me was mortifying. There was this kind of activity. Was it a talent show? I don't even know what it was. It might have been a school disco because I never went to them either, but I think I went to this one. I don't know. I don't know what kind of event it was, but it was the kind of event where there were hula hoops, like ones that you can like hula hoop with. They were on the stage and they were calling people up to hula hoop, and then whoever did it the longest won a prize, like a sweet or something. I refused because I'm not going up onto a stage in front of everyone, even though I knew all these kids since I was like 4, but whatever. And I remember vividly this boy in my year turning to me and going, "Oh, Neve, you never have any fun." And that was really offensive to me at the time. And I've never really thought about why. And it's like, I think it's because that comment made me realise that I'm actually quite disappointed in my inability to kind of put myself out there. And I have realised a lot of the good things in life kind of come out of stepping out of your comfort zone, which, everyone knows that, but try telling someone riddled with anxiety that it's impossible to reconcile in your brain. So I realised that I was stimming openly in primary school, particularly in early primary school. That kind of contributed to some mild bullying that happened. And I actually think my fear of being perceived, like the main part of it, is because I'm masking. And if I remove the mask, like I'm worried what people will think. And I think the mask mostly hides my stims. I need to do a whole video on masking as well, because that's a whole other topic. Did I do one already? I can't remember. The point I'm trying to make is I feel like that is a big part of it, because if I didn't have to like mask myself and make myself more palatable to non-neurodivergent people, I think I wouldn't have this fear as much. But I think because I'm always a bit self-conscious, it just makes it 10 times worse. I don't know, I just don't like people invading my space, and I don't like people invading my space with their eyes when I'm trying to do things. Oh yeah, another theory I have is that I was very tall when I was younger. I was basically the same height I am now, which is like 5'8", when I was like 11, so I was literally a head taller than everyone, if not more. There's photos to prove this, but I'm too lazy to add them in here. But essentially that made me stand out, quite obviously, so that definitely didn't help. Also, when I made the transition to secondary school, everyone thought I was older than I was because of my height, and that didn't help because everyone was like, why are you in this year? You're like too tall for that. Also, I had no idea how to dress, what to look like. I didn't know how to wear makeup. I didn't really want to wear makeup. I almost had a phobia of it. And to be honest now, I still don't really wear makeup unless I'm filming, but I didn't like the sensation of it on my face. I'm gonna do a whole video about autism and makeup soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that, with a special guest. Also, I've always been very easily embarrassed, like, so when people look at me, like what it feels like, okay, it's not just someone looking at me and me getting annoyed that they're looking at me or whatever. It's almost like instantaneous embarrassment, which is really odd because I don't really have anything to be embarrassed about, but it's an instantaneous reaction. And I said this to my mum and she has it too, so maybe I've inherited this. But I have this like sweeping hot sensation of embarrassment that comes over me whenever someone looks at me. And not only do I get really hot and like flushed, I just feel really uncomfortable. Sort of related, but sort of not. If I look at my reflection, I often am like, I recognize myself, but I don't feel like comfortable. Like I'm like, oh my God, I like exist in a physical space. This is very odd and autistic, I know, but I feel like when I'm existing, I can't really picture what I look like. I have realized that one of the main reasons I don't look people in the eye is because then I'll know they're acknowledging me. I don't like that. I think that's the worst bit of it. Like knowing that they're looking at me is like the reason I don't do it. If you meet me in person, I will speak to literally the periphery of the room, and I didn't even realize how weird this was till I saw a video of myself doing it, and I was like, huh? But I it's an autistic thing, obviously, the lack of eye contact, but I think it's linked to my fear of being perceived because I'm like, I don't want people like, I don't want to know that people are looking at me, even though I know they are logically. Like, I'm not silly, but I don't want that to be acknowledged in my brain because I know I'll just go bright red and embarrassed and stuff. I can also just articulate myself better when I'm not looking directly at someone, but I think that's to do with the anxiety as well. So yeah, just the feeling of eye contact is like someone screaming in my ear, literally. It's like I can feel the screaming, which is why I can't do this part of my job very well and why I have to shadow people all the time still, because I'm like, if you know what was going on in my brain when this happens, it's not as easy as it sounds. You can't just go up, waltz up, introduce yourself, like talk to these people. That for me is hell on its own. The fact that I have to do it on my own, and also there's the potential that something could go wrong, or like someone could ask a question I don't know the answer to. It's very common, you know, like if I don't have a script for it, it's not just a fear or like even a phobia, it's terror. That's what I'm feeling. I can hear the voices screaming in my head, like, why are you doing this? This is horrible. Someone is looking at me. I look horrible. I look hideous. I don't want them looking at me. Why do I have to be perceived? If I could be some sort of ghost person that just cruises through life without being seen, without touching the ground, that would be nice. Yeah, so I'm always trying to make myself like invisible and as small as possible. I even find it uncomfortable when I'm driving and like people acknowledge you if you've like let them go or whatever and they'll thank you. I'm like, even though I was doing something nice for them, like I can't bear the fact that they've acknowledged me, that I exist. It's horrible. Yeah, I just wish I was only perceived when I wanted to be and like when I was okay with accepting it. And also I just wish people didn't make eye contact and like force eye contact. Yeah, so that's all my notes. I'm sorry if this was really rambly and odd because I really didn't know how to structure this, but that is basically what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about the prisms of people's acknowledgement and the way they look at you. That's my video. Thank you for watching. Sorry if it was a bit depressing and also a bit unstructured. I actually think I suit the unstructured videos more, and I think I just vibe with abstract concepts a lot more than I do with like more concrete topics. So I wanted to just put my 2 pence worth out there. Hope something sticks with somebody. My name is Neve. Please like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see my face. I am going to try and do more videos. When have I ever not said that? But I promise there is potential. I have more inspiration and more creativity nowadays. I love this pen. Have a nice one and stuff. Goodbye.